Good afternoon, everyone. I've cut out some figures here, just as promised. This is the 3 o'clock video, and that's UK time. So I've cut out some of my figures out of my template made out of cardboard, and I've put together a few combinations, which I will show you, just to have a look at what you could do. I found a few interesting things in doing this as well. So firstly, I'm going to do definitely do a couple with sort of bands on them because they look very Easter eggy, and a couple with a little central part there. So I'll just bring those down so you can see. I also, as I started messing around with the circles here, I thought, oh, I really want to make a spotty one. So I started cutting out some little shapes, some circles here. Odd numbers are always best, so I've cut out 4. I thought I'd show you this little tip, which I found easier. If you didn't want to use a coin to draw around, in the UK it would be a little 5p piece or something like that, then you can always use this little hack, which I've learned, which is start off with a square, and then just literally go around it and just round off all the edges and cut into it a little bit. Go all the way round and round off those edges, because I'm not good at drawing shapes freehand. I'm certainly no drawer artist in the sense of somebody who can draw or paint. That's definitely not my forte. These often start off a little bit larger, so I just take a little bit of the size off just to make them about the same as the others. That's about right. Just snip off that edge a little bit, and there you go. So that's a little tip if you want to make a circle sort of reasonably easily. So I'm going to probably pin these ones on in a minute, but I thought if you wanted to have a look and see if you wanted to get together some options like that to make the stripes, as I said earlier, I've cut some of the waste felt from having chopped these out, and what you just need to do is go from a straight piece like this and just cut into this a little bit so it makes a bit of a curve, and then you curve the other side as well. So if you do that on both pieces, you end up with these sort of arched shapes, which you can then pin onto your piece ready to stitch. Now obviously if you have got some lovely stitches in your arsenal already, you might just want to go on and start stitching, which is absolutely fine. What I thought I might show you is a few ideas for what I'm going to be doing, and I will post another video about 6 o'clock. The light is fading fast here. It's really come overcast now, so I'm going to try and record the other one soon, but I will put it out a little bit later. What you need to do ostensibly is, if you've got 2 halves of your egg, what you need to do is attach these. Obviously that's the main thing initially. So you might want to try some stitches to attach these onto your piece. You could try all sorts. You could try a French knots, herringbone, you could try anything. You could turn them on their side and do a nice little fly or feather stitch along them. And also these bits here, we can fill these in with different stitches as well. As you will have seen from my pieces earlier, these ones are very, very, very busy, and this was quite intensive to make. So I'm probably going to make these a little bit more simple and not quite so decorated. Seed stitch in the middle there is a very easy one because it's just a series of small sort of almost running stitches really, but just sort of in a random design. So I think that's what I'm going to do with one of these sort of eggy ones. I've started off with the bit of fabric in the middle, and I think I'm going to go around the edge of that and just attach it to the piece, and then I can take the pin out and start putting something in the center. So what I'm probably going to do is something along the line of a herringbone stitch or something like that. So I will start off now just on this one, just to give it a go. So if you can see that okay. I've just pinned that in place. I'm going to come up here. I think actually what I'm going to do is a series of fly stitches, because that does look really nice. Now this is not the thickest of felt, this white one, so I'm going to be very gentle. I've done it with a contrasting colour because I think that will look nice. Nice little knot at the back, and I'm just going to make one of our fly stitches. So if you watch the video on that for the full how-to, you make with a fly stitch, they need to be on an even level. Feather stitch is a bit more up and down, and what you're wanting to do is make that V shape. So I'm going to come up there in the middle, and I'm just going to finish that one off. Just do a simple little stitch in there just to anchor it in place. So caught the thread, you've anchored it in place, and then I'm going to turn it, and I'm just going to work that round in a circle. Okay, so there's another one. So go in there. You've got those 2 points, and then you've got your 3rd point around here, and just going to pull that. Sorry, this is a double felting because you've got 2 layers of felt there, so it can be sometimes a little difficult. This pink one is a lot thicker, so I'm getting a slightly different sort of tension on it. So basically I'm going to go around the whole lot with that. So that's one of them that I'm going to do. And then there is a space in the middle here. When I finish this circle, there will be a nice little space in the middle here. And what I'm thinking, I'm either going to try French knots or seed stitch. So I'd be interested to see what you think looks good. So that's one in progress. I'm going to pop that off to the side. With this one here, what I'm going to do, I think, is obviously I need to chop the ends off, but what I usually do is attach it before I chop, just because it makes sure that I don't, it doesn't get looking a bit untidy. Albeit I know that we are not looking for perfection. So I think with this one I'm going to go along, and I'm using cotton perlé for this, which is of course, as you know, one of my favourite things, cotton perlé 8. And unfortunately I've got a really annoying needle here which is a little bit difficult to thread, so just bear with me 1 second. I have to get myself a better one for later. So this one is a lovely sort of appley green, very spring-like. With something this size, I think you're probably looking, again, at odd numbers, so probably 3 to 5 colours would be good. And ideally you don't really want something exactly the same colour as any of the things in it, although that might also look rather nice. So we will see. What I think I'm going to do here is I'm going to do a little herringbone stitch across here. So you have got my video for this as well, so you can see how to do it properly with a pin in place. It's not quite so easy. So again, I'm coming in through the back towards the edge of the piece, and then I'm going to start coming across, and I'm making again that wigwam TP sort of shape, although this one is going to be a slightly flattened one. So you can see that I made my first shape there. Now when you've got a pin in there, it does make it a little bit more tricky, but I'm just going to try and work around it. Make sure I've got a little bit of tension when I pull through. So here I know I'm going to go roughly there. So what I'm going to do is just pop that behind the pin and try and get it to lie flat. So now I'm going to pull this pin back. So now I've got the ability to get in here. It's working around these things. It's always important. So as you can see, I'm going to do that on both pieces. I'm going to do a stitch. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to turn this one and do the stitch upside down. So it's going to be in the same way, but it's going to show as a mirror, because I think that's going to look fantastic. So that's another one started. And then let's just have a little look what else we've got here. So I've got my little eggy pieces. So again, I want them to be slightly random and not look too perfectly placed. I want to push them out a little bit, and perhaps they are. That looks quite cute. What I'm going to do is pin these ones in place, and then what I think I will do is do a little running stitch around each piece, just to anchor them in place, so I can then do some more fancy things in the middle and some more fancy things here in the egg white, as I like to call it. There's a lot of little yolks here. That was an Easter joke. No, honestly not. So I think I'm going to do that off camera. I'm going to do some running stitches around there, and then I'm going to have a look at decorating in here, and I will come back and do that at the 6 o'clock, which is just over 2.5 hours from now, and that's UK time. So on the next one, I'm going to have a think about this one. So I do like this pink and white. I feel like I need a bright colour really to jazz it up, so I'm going to find some of the really strong, I think maybe something like that, something really strong. I've also got some, not just sort of pinks, but purples as well, and sort of rose. So I'm going to have a look at the colour schemes for this and sort of have a think about what I want to do for this one. But I think what I'm going to do with this one is, I think I'm going to start off with some French knots in the centre. So I'm going to start doing that now. I'm going to actually use also a bit of embroidery floss. I don't use it as often as cotton perlé because I find cotton perlé a bit smoother. But I'm probably going to try, trial and error, I'm probably going to try maybe 3 strands, because I don't want it to get lost with the cotton pearly, which is that bit thicker. So I've got just some ordinary DMC embroidery floss there. This is an old one, so I don't even know if that number is still right, but it's 3687. So lovely sort of cerise pink. So I'm going to thread that one now and knot it off. So this one, yes, I think I might try some French knots in this. I haven't done French knots in a embroidery floss for quite a long time. So I'm going to do them right in the middle here, and my technique is, if you watch the video again, it will help you. My technique is have your needle as flat as possible to the ground. You only lift up at the end here as you're wrapping, so it's a bit difficult with the other one underneath. I'm going to try 5 wraps, and then you pull back a bit like a plunger on a syringe and try to go in the same hole. Let's get that other bit out of the way, that'll make life easier. See how that looks. It actually looks really nice in that pink. So I think I'm going to carry on with some French knots in the middle there. Seed stitch also would be lovely, and I'm thinking of doing that in the other one here. I think I might do some seed stitch in the middle there. That will look really nice. And then, so that's another one to do. I'm going to be busy, aren't I? This one, this is quite floppy, this particular one, and this is very thick. So I think with this, I'm going to keep this fairly simple. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little chain stitch across here. Now this isn't a stitch I've taught you yet, but it is one that will be coming. I'm again going to try and use something quite bright. So let's see what I've got. I've got a lovely variegated here. Isn't that just spring in a thread? Unfortunately, I don't have the colour for this, so I don't know what make it is, but it's a variegated and it's all the colours of spring. It's sort of greens and yellows and even going slightly into orange, but I thought it might be a good one to try. And I'm definitely going to get a better needle next time, so I'm not spending so much time trying to thread. No, that one doesn't want to do it. It really doesn't. Let's try that again. No, I'm going to go to the other end. Chop off the end if I can't get it. It's difficult when the light is slightly going. So I think I've got, nope, I haven't got it that time. Right, let's chop off the end and start again. I'm going to go and get myself a thicker needle in a minute. That one give me with a larger eye would be a lot easier. There we go. Okay, so to do a chain stitch, I will show you briefly. Again, I'm coming in from the edge, so I'm going to chop this little bit off here. But basically, I'm going to come in from the edge. And what you want to do, this is actually, it needs to be knotted again, I think. Yeah. Let's just do that. I'm going to do another knot as well. It's just going straight through this because this yellow is so thin. So that should be better. Right. Again, I've got my pin in the way, so I'm going to slightly push that out of the way. And to do this stitch, what you want to do is come up through the fabric, go back down immediately into the same place, and then come up a bit further along, like that. And then you can see you should be wrapping or catching this bit of thread here. So if I take that through, you can see I've made one single chain stitch. Again, I'm going to go in almost to the same place on the second stitch, not quite into the same place, but almost to the same place. Again, this pin is going to be slightly in the way, but I'm going to come up there and come through, and then just missing the pins. I'm going to pull that not tight, but give it a bit of tension. I'm now going to pull this pin back because it's getting slightly in my way, and I'll tidy that stitch up a little bit later and go back in again. So go back in and come out again, making sure the stitches are roughly the same length. So where you go in and come out, you should be able to. It's going round the pin there, so I feel I'm actually going to take that pin off and continue with that one. So there's a few possibilities for you, but you can do absolutely anything you want on these. Don't feel that you have to do the same as me unless you really want to. But I'm going to go off and do a bit more work on these and then come back at 6 o'clock with a little bit of an update. Okay, I'll see you later. Bye.